CBS will have 4 games this Sunday for Week 14 of the NFL. The standalone game of the late window is out in Las Vegas, where the division-leading Broncos visit the struggling Raiders. Charles Davis will be on the call for that one, along with Andrew Catalon, Jason McCourty, and A.J. Ross. Let's welcome Charles in to HQ Spotlight. Always great to be with you, my friend. Let's start with the Denver Broncos, who are aiming for that 1 seed in the conference's only bye. They had that nail-biting win in Landover, Maryland against the Commanders. Yes, it's the Raiders, but Charles, how much will Denver want this one given the schedule the rest of the way after this game?
Tommy, they have to have it because they have said that they are taking dead aim at the #1 seed. Sean Payton, the head coach, has said it. This isn't college, right, where we try and tamp it all down. And no, Sean Payton said, no, we've done it. You remember what happened in Washington when Nick Bonito knocked away the 2-point conversion and someone said to Sean Payton in the post-game presser, "Great escape, coach," or something to that effect. He said, "Escape? We didn't escape. We won the game." Their 9-game winning streak, they've been behind in every one of those 9 games. The last 4 games, they've won by a combined 10 points. Does this sound somewhat familiar? How about Kansas City 2024? They got to the Super Bowl. That's all there, but they're taking dead aim because the schedule, as you pointed out, look at what they've got coming up. They're at Vegas this week, at Green Bay, Jacksonville at home, at Kansas City on Christmas night, and then we finish with the Chargers, depending on, do you have to have it, do you not? See, New England, their #1 competition, also on a 9-game run, open week this week, Buffalo, at Baltimore, at the Jets, Miami. I think New England's got the better schedule, so Denver has to be on top of their game.
I think you are exactly right. And you mentioned that defense, which has been consistent. They have been elite. Offensively is where things have certainly been up and down, although late game situation up more than most. J.K.
Yes.
Dobbins is out there, Charles. As you have gotten ready for this game, what stood out to you about RJ Harvey and what impact he might have on the field this week?
I think he's having more and more impact, Tommy, but he's not going to be a J.K. Dobbins, at least not to date, where you turn and you stick it in his chest in 4-minute offense and grind someone down and finish a game off, right? He has been much more of a combo back, run it a little bit, catch out of the backfield, has a great nose for the end zone, had 2 touchdowns this past week. They're hoping that continues to develop because they have a good offensive line. But Tommy, in the 2 games since J.K. Dobbins has been out, they're averaging 73 yards a game running the football. Those are numbers like the Raiders are averaging this year. In fact, in these 2 games, that's the 4th worst in the NFL since week 11. You know who's been behind them? Tennessee, Arizona, Las Vegas. All 3 eliminated from postseason potential. They are 4-0 this year, though, Tommy, with less than 90 yards running the ball in a game, which is a great record. But over time, the best records where you've averaged less than 90 yards per game running it, do you know what happens in the playoffs?
You don't get
4
as
out
far
of
as you
those
want
5
to.
lost in their first playoff game. The 5th team won 1 and got beaten in the divisional round. No one got to the ultimate goal, which was getting to the Super Bowl. So you best believe that Sean Payton and crew, and Sean's always been a guy to run the heck out of the football too, they're going to continue to work on this down the stretch.
That's a great note, by the way, in terms of that, in terms of what to look out for and the implications down the road for this Bronco team. In terms of an impact player to watch, why have you targeted Evan Ingram this week?
Because he was brought in to be that joker player that we always talk about with Sean Payton, that Reggie Bush, that Alvin Kamara, the guy who can do a little bit of everything on the field. And it hasn't been great until lately. And then on Sunday night, that big ball game, 6 catches, 79 yards, 41-yarder, the big catch in overtime to help break things open. We're starting to see the signs of why Evan Ingram was brought there. And he is a terrific yak guy, as you know, Tommy. When he catches it, he turns into a heck of a runner and increases the yardage. I think as Bo Nix continues to find him, he's going to be quite the factor down the stretch for the Denver Broncos.
On the other side, Charles, the Raiders are 2-10, eliminated from the playoffs. The offensive line has been poor, which is a tough matchup going up against that Denver line here. But Max Crosby continues to be a pro. I mean, what's sort of the Vegas outlook here as you get ready to call their game?
Well, Pete Carroll's the head coach, and what does Pete always preach to us, Tommy? Always compete, right? They've got to continue to find guys who are going to compete down the stretch. They got to continue to develop the young players, all right? Bowers, we know, is a superstar already at tight end. Genty, the running back, they've got to get him activated and going. He has one 100-yard game on the season. Jack Besh, DeAndre Thornton, the wide receivers, they've got to find ways to get them the football and turn things out. But the bottom line is they have a veteran that's showing them all how to do it, and that is the guy you mentioned, Max Crosby. I mean, the last 2 ball games, Crosby has just gone crazy, right? He had 2 sacks against the Chargers. He had 5 tackles for loss against Cleveland. And here's my favorite stat for Max Crosby. He played 100% of the defensive snaps in the last 2 games. I think he's well in the 90s on the season. Big guys don't play that often. Max Crosby never comes off the field.
Tied for second most tackles for loss entering Week 14, only behind Myles Garrett. You mentioned Brock Bowers. What makes him an elite tight end when you get to actually watch him on film, watch him in person, to be one of the really elite pass-catching weapons in the game right now?
Well, Tommy, as you well know, when we talk about tight ends coming out of college lately, we've talked about them more for their pass-catching skills than their blocking, right? Are they elite pass catchers? Well, Brock Bowers is every bit of that. He can block as well. He can play inline, he can play flex, he can play outside and play wide receiver. He's essentially a wide receiver 1 in a tight end's body. But the Raiders don't have the luxury of just playing him in mainly tight end spots and letting him victimize linebackers, strong safeties, people of that nature. He has to go out wide and be a principal ball catcher. How about the catch he had this past weekend? That one-handed catch, ball never hits the ground. That's kind of normal stuff for him. They've got to continue to find ways to spring him because he is an elite playmaker with the ball in his hands. This offense has struggled all year, Tommy. Did you see it struggle the 3 games he missed with a knee injury? Mm-hmm. He is the deal, the absolute deal. And if they ever have a good team, he's going to be that guy because any quarterback that's going to play for the Raiders, your first look should be at number 89, and then you go from there.
Yeah, they need him out on the field because Geno Smith is not getting a lot of time to throw it out there. I mentioned the line, of course, and you mentioned Genty unable to really be efficient in terms of the yards. So we'll see if he has a big game. Certainly fantasy managers hoping that too. Charles, certainly appreciate it. Enjoy the call this week. Thanks for hopping on the show.
Thanks, Tommy. Take care.
Charles Davis, the best. Speaking of the best, NFL Today, Sundays at noon Eastern, leading up to that 1 p.m. Eastern window. CBS and streaming on Paramount+. Big game in the NFC North. Out of Lambeau's, the Packers host the top seed in the NFC, and the Chicago Bears. We are pushing the pile next on HQ Spotlight.